Hello everyone, today I'm in Wroclaw, Poland, which is Poland's third largest city, and I'm here in the main market square, and this is one of Poland's oldest market squares and dates all the way back to the 13th century, making this area over 700 years old. And besides having a lot of shopping and restaurants, they also have a lot of rather neatly colorful buildings, and they just use all kinds of colors here, such as this yellow to pink and then green and orange. And these buildings have lots of character, and there's also some rather interesting historic buildings in this area, such as this building directly behind me, which is the St. Elizabeth of Hungary Catholic Church. And this was built in the 14th century. And the church is the large building that's behind these two smaller houses. And then these two houses here are referred to as the Hansel and Gretel homes, because it looks like the two houses are holding hands. And these houses date back to the 13th century, so these are a little bit older than the church. And it looks like they have a little souvenir shop here. And then this is the St. Elizabeth of Hungary Catholic Church, and this is just a massive building. And so this was built in the 14th century, and this tower, which is also part of the church, is 91 meters tall. And it's almost kind of difficult to get the whole church tower in the picture, but that would make it approximately 3 feet per meter, so that would be about 270 feet. And then they have some information here. There's a pipe organ inside the church that's 16 meters high and 11 meters wide, so that would be like 50 foot by 30 feet. And let's see, this building has a rather interesting history. It somehow survived both the First and Second World War, but then most of the building was damaged by fire in 1976, including the massive pipe organ, and then it was rebuilt. And this office over here, they have a replica of the church building there in the front. And then I believe they sell tour tickets to view this part of the church, this tower. And I don't think there's an elevator in the tower itself, so that would be a rather long climb to climb up 27 stories. And I believe the cost of tickets is about $3-4. I want to say it's about $3 to $4. But if you just want to view the church portion of this building, that is free. Anyhow, and this area here, they also have shops and restaurants, and then there's a hotel, and this is a Wyndham Hotel, and that's a international chain. They pretty much have those almost everywhere, and that's listed online as a 4-star hotel, and one night there is $106. And that would be kind of at the higher end of hotels here in Wroclaw, I would say the average price is maybe $50–$60 per night. And it looks like they're getting ready to go on another tour. And they have a lot of these tour carts lined up. So if you come here to Wroclaw, there's lots of opportunity to have someone show you around the city. And just some background information on the city itself. Wroclaw has a population of approximately 673,000 people. So it is a rather large city, and it's also one of the oldest cities in Poland. And Wroclaw was founded in the 10th century AD, which makes the city over 1,000 years old. And we're now back to the main market square, and they just have all kinds of restaurants. Some are Polish restaurants. There's a dumpling and pasta bar, and then right next to that a Domino's pizza. And they actually have quite a few Western franchises. Just right in this area, there's the typical McDonald's, Burger King, and KFC. And just in case you're curious how much a cheese pizza is at the Domino's, it is about $7 for a small cheese pizza. And surprisingly, these Western franchise restaurants, they actually do pretty well here. You know, as you can see, there's a line of people outside, and I think most of these are people from Europe or Poland. I don't believe there's a lot of people from the US that would, you know, wait in line to eat at a Domino's. There might be some, but they basically seem to be popular with the locals. And then here's a little cafe, and that chocolate drink there, it was $7. Try not to get run over by the Uber Eats people. They seem to ride a lot of bikes with the Uber Eats, and they have the backpack on, and they hand deliver the food. And so you got to kind of watch out for the bicycles. But anyhow, they got these balloon people, and a lot more shopping and restaurants, and a nice water fountain. And just some more background information on the city of Wroclaw, and it has a rather interesting history. The city of Wroclaw at one time has been a part of Hungary, Austria, and then later it was a part of Germany. And Germany would go on to lose its Polish territories, including Wroclaw, following the end of the Second World War, and this city became a part of Poland once again. And after that happened, after the Second World War, most of the city's inhabitants were actually German. So they were forced to migrate back to Germany, and then Wroclaw was settled by Polish citizens, and the city continues to remain over 98% Polish, which was pretty much the opposite of what it was prior to the Second World War. And let's see here, we could check out a few more restaurants. And this restaurant is called Jalopis. Hopefully I pronounced that name correctly. And see a few interesting items on their menu. You can get a Bigos Starpolski, which is a old Polish hunter's stew, sauerkraut, beef, pork, sausage with a Kaiser roll for 27 zloty or $7, or a Pigori Ruski, which is a 5-piece dumplings with potato and cottage cheese stuffing, bacon and onion spread for 24 zloty or $6. And then let's see, they had toasted baguettes, which are basically like a I believe that's French for sandwich. And you get a sandwich with cheese, mushrooms, ham, chives, and ketchup for 24 zloty, which would be about $6. And looks like they have this art exhibit here, and this is all in Polish. And also right behind this artwork is another Western restaurant. This is a Pizza Hut, and that looks to be a pretty popular pizza restaurant, as there's a rather long line to get a pizza there. And anyhow, continuing on with the history of Wroclaw, historically speaking, it wasn't just the Germans and the Soviets that the Polish had to fight. Poland was invaded by the Mongols in the 13th century during the first Mongol invasion. And to prevent the city of Wroclaw's capture, most of the city was burned down by its Polish inhabitants, and there would be other calamities to befall the city of Wroclaw. In June of 1443, Wroclaw was hit by a approximately 6.0 earthquake, which caused widespread damage throughout the city. So the last major earthquake here, that would be about 570 years ago, 580 years ago. So almost 600 years. It's almost been 6 centuries since the last earthquake. And that's probably a good thing, because most of these buildings, I don't think they were built to withstand a large earthquake. Most of these buildings are brick buildings, and they probably would not hold up very well if there were another large earthquake. So that's a very fortunate thing that they do not have earthquakes out here very often. And getting back to the town market, this is a rather interesting musical instrument that's being played, and also has a little monkey there on the front of the cart. Very, very neat touch. And a few more facts that people might find interesting about Wroclaw. The city has a rather large population of younger residents, as over 130,000 students attend one of the city's 10 public universities. So there's a lot of college students here. And this area looks like there's more restaurants. And let's see what's on the menu over here. And this menu is in all Polish, which makes it a little bit difficult, though with the help of my smartphone I was able to find the breakfast menu, and it's a little bit late for breakfast, but that's okay. A French toast with scrambled eggs is 34 zloty there, which would be about $8 US. And here's some more familiar restaurants in this area. There's a Burger King, followed by a McDonald's. And I've already been inside of that McDonald's to price a Big Mac meal, which is about $7.50. And I think that's pretty comparable to most parts of the USA. And this building to the right, this is a museum of Burgios art. And I believe that Burgios translates to rich. That could be the French term for rich people, I believe. If I'm wrong about that, please let me know. But it is a rather interesting looking building though. And it even has a clock tower there on the front of it. And that clock looks to be correct. It says it's 4:53, and it's very interesting looking building, lots of character. And next to the Burgios Museum, there's a Hard Rock Cafe. So this area just has a mix of every kind of restaurant, followed by a Starbucks. And I'm now about a half mile from the center market square, and there's two rather interesting buildings just right here in this area. This one and this other much older brick building, and this is a Church of Saint Stanislaus, and this is a Catholic church which was built in the 14th century. And this is a side view of the Saint Stanislaus Church, and for a 700-year-old building, it is just a massive structure. I would say it's at least 15 stories tall, and the view that we got of it earlier, that was actually of the back of the building. I really haven't even seen the front yet because it's down the street about a block. Just about takes up this entire block here, but even just from the back of the building, it is a very impressive building. And then this other newer, maybe a little bit more modern looking building, this is the Wroclaw Opera, which was built in 1841 and originally named the Breslau Opera because at that time Wroclaw was a mostly German city and was populated primarily by Germans. Then after the Second World War, the name was changed to the Wroclaw Opera, and the Wroclaw Opera can seat up to 600 concert goers. And from the last available census information in 2014, over 105,000 people attended the opera here that year. And then there's also a second large church building just right down this street. And if I could cross this sidewalk area without getting run over, I could probably get a decent view of it. They also have this rather interesting artwork. Not sure what this is. Maybe naked person swimming. He's got goggles on. I'll have to check that out later. Hopefully I don't get run over by the Uber Eats person either. Anyhow, just walking a little bit further out. So there's a second church building, and that is the Corpus Christi Church, and that's also a Catholic church, and there's not much information about it other than it's a Catholic church. And it looks like there might be an opera tonight, so just pass by the nice opera house here and then check out the Corpus Christi Church. Ooh, very opulent looking building. And here is a better view of the Corpus Christi Church, and this is actually one of the smaller Catholic church buildings that I've seen here in Wroclaw, though it's still a impressive looking building. And like most of Poland, Wroclaw is mostly Catholic, so if you like Catholic churches, you probably will like Wroclaw and also Poland in general. This is the Wroclaw main train station, which is conveniently located near the downtown area of Wroclaw, about maybe a mile from downtown. And even just right in this area here, there's quite a bit of shopping, restaurants, and hotels as well. And also, once you're here, if you do need to just get around the city, they have plenty of public transit options. There's lots of buses, and what's really neat is they have these streetcars that go down the center of almost every major street. And it's really neat how they have it where these streetcars share the streets with other vehicle traffic, and they do that by putting the train tracks right down the center of just about every major street, and the trains just go down the center like that one there, and then the vehicle traffic is on either side of these streetcars. And it's a very good idea. I'm not sure if this goes back to the Soviet times or whatnot, but it's very easy to get around the city of Wroclaw. And also the public transportation here is fairly cheap. A one-way 45-minute train tickets for the trains and the buses or the streetcars or whatnot, it's only about $1. So once you're here, you really don't need a car, though there's still plenty of people that do drive. And anyhow, just getting back to the Wroclaw main train station. This was built in 1857 and is Poland's busiest train station, and currently approximately 21 million passengers pass through this train station each year. So it is a fairly busy train station, and I would almost compare it to a major airport, because it really does get that busy. Right now it's a little bit later in the afternoon. It's about 6 o'clock or so, so maybe it might not be as busy as it was a couple hours earlier, but it is basically a 24-hour-a-day operation. And just walking into the main entrance. And they also have a lot of little restaurants, like there's a pretzel store. And this shop over here sells donuts. And those are about $2 each per donut. And this is the main lobby for the train station. And you can pretty much go anywhere throughout Europe from here. If you want to go to Germany or as far away as Amsterdam or France, they have trains that pretty much go throughout Europe. And there's the ticketing counter. And what I've found from my experience here is that most of the people that work for the train station, they do speak some English, so you don't have to be concerned about not being able to purchase a train ticket if you're unable to speak Polish. And also what's convenient is you could buy train tickets online as well. They have websites such as Eurorail. Though one thing to mention about the online websites is they are slightly more expensive than just going to the train station and buying the ticket in person. Not really sure why that is. It's just kind of old-fashioned. So if you want to save I would say it's about 10% more expensive to buy online. And anyhow, these are the different platforms that they have, and I believe each platform has 2 different train tracks, and then they also have elevators as well, and those look to be lockers that you could store your stuff. I've never used those, but if you don't want to take the stairs, you can always take the elevator up to the train platform. And this station, I believe it has 6 or 7 different platforms, so it has about 12 to 14 different train tracks, and it is a pretty busy place, almost nearly 24 hours a day, just as busy as many major airports. And one other thing that I like about train stations in Europe, and especially here in Poland, is almost every major train station will have a shopping mall right next to it, and this one does as well. And right now we're just about to leave the train station, and then once we get outside, directly across the street, there's this large 2-story shopping mall here. And as far as in size goes, I would compare this shopping mall and most of the others I've been to throughout Poland. They're just as large as any shopping mall that I've been to in, say, Las Vegas or Los Angeles. And also quite a few of the stores are the same, so it is kind of westernized. And they also have quite a few higher end European stores as well. Of course, this is Europe, but some might consider this maybe closer to Eastern Europe, though, being in Poland. But they still do have higher end retail shopping here. And we're now just about to walk in through this entrance, and they seem to like turnstiles like these, and that one was missing the actual turn rotation deal or whatnot, but I think they do that to conserve energy. And anyhow, here's some of the shops. This is a kukurina, and I believe that's Polish for pastry or donut. And they have some cakes here that look pretty good, and those range from $20 to $25 each. And then they have these prepared sandwiches. Those are 10 zloty, which is about $2.50. And then here's a Lindt chocolate store, and that should be familiar to most people. They have that franchise in quite a few other countries as well. And just all kinds of shopping. Here's a jewelry watch store. And one other thing that I like about the malls in Poland is they're basically one-stop places to shop, because you can do every kind of shopping here besides clothing and jewelry. Then they also have these supermarkets, and this is a full-size supermarket right here inside of the shopping mall, and you can do all of your grocery shopping just right here. And this is really convenient. I'm not sure why the malls in the US don't have this, why it really didn't catch on elsewhere, but it is pretty common throughout Europe. And then they have like higher end shopping, this H&M clothing store, and I believe this is a men's and women's clothing, and a lot more shopping upstairs as well. This is the apartment that I'm staying at here in Wroclaw, and it's on Varna Street. And though you might not be able to tell so from here just because all the construction, but this is pretty centrally located. Just across the street is the Wroclaw main train station, and they also have quite a bit of shopping and restaurants just right here in this area. So let's go inside and check out the apartment. And this is the inside of my 1-bedroom Rent Planet apartment here in Wroclaw, and it's actually a rather large 1-bedroom because it has a loft area upstairs, and then this would be the living room slash TV area, and it has a pretty nice sofa and TV, and there's also even a nice view of this part of Wroclaw. Some construction activity, buildings being under construction and behind here. And there's also a little fridge as well. And then the bathroom area is near the entrance here, and it's just a standard hotel bathroom. And then the neat part about this apartment is this upstairs area, and it really feels like quite a bit larger than your standard hotel room, having the second story. And this is the loft with, I'd say, about a queen size bed, and it also has heat and air conditioning up here as well. And the current rate for this apartment is approximately $44 per night. So overall, it's a good deal, and I would rent this apartment again. And still in the Market Square area, if you are curious to know what a cheap place to stay looks like in Wroclaw, look no further than the Corner Hostel here. And the current price for one night is $18, though not everyone seems to have had a pleasant stay here. Just going over some of the online reviews, one user writes, "This hostel was one of the worst experiences I've had in hostels. The facilities were either broken or about to break. The fridge looked like it hadn't been cleaned for months. There was old food in there and no attempt at organizing anything." And it goes on quite a bit, but some of this is pretty good. This is a bit of a long one. "There was nothing to cook with, maybe 2 pots with their handles about to break off, 1 glass, 1 blunt knife, and 1 spatula. Nobody washed their plates, pans after cooking or eating. The sink was blocked constantly. The cupboards hadn't been cleaned for 3 years. In the bathroom, all the soap dispensers were broken. The shower drains were blocked up, and the shower nearly overflowed after a 5-minute shower." That's not even the worst part. The other guests were people living at the hostel. Alcoholics who drank beer from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. So that's pretty much all day there. Shouting and fighting and stumbling around, being drunk and aggressive. One guy was harassing the receptionist, Alexandria, for about 3 hours, and she looked very uncomfortable. On the first night I arrived, there was one guy who I woke up to because he was looking through my bags and the drawers next to my bed at 3 a.m. shouting, "That's my bed, that's my bed," when it was obviously not. He was just too drunk to remember his bed was on the other side of the room. My food went missing from the fridge, and my phone charger got stolen when I left the room for a cigarette for 10 minutes. Literally half the lockers in the room had been broken into. The doors were just hanging off and left there, and the ones that were still attached to the hinges were held on by like 2 tiny screws. And this continues for a little bit longer. The blankets in the bedrooms were old, smelly, scratchy, woolen type blankets, and the bed sheets had holes in them. Literally, the worst experience I ever had. Was more like a prison than a hostel I had to pay in. And let's see, there's no reply from the hostel management, so apparently not everyone is happy with the corner hostel here on the corner. Though on the bright side, there is a KFC chicken restaurant just right on the ground floor, and it looks like it's pretty busy in there today. View of Wroclaw from the Harkoyu Bridge over the Oder River on this beautiful September afternoon, and this is looking west towards the main market square. And some of these larger buildings I have not viewed yet, such as the church looking building in the center, and I probably won't be able to view just because I've already included several other churches already. And on my map, this is listed as the St. John the Baptist Church, which is also a Catholic church like most of the others that I've already included. And on the next street over, this is looking towards the east, there's a rather interesting looking drawbridge. And what's really neat about most of these bridges is that they have the train tracks for the streetcars going right down the center of the streets, so they could accommodate both vehicle traffic and the streetcars as well. And they usually pass by about maybe once every 2-3 minutes. I'm surprised one hasn't come by yet. And I just had to wait about 30 more seconds, and here comes one now. And these come by rather frequently. I would say maybe closer to one every minute. This one is going northbound, and very good idea for public transit to have streetcars like that. And I'm now just about a mile north of the train station, and they have this second rather large shopping mall here. And one of the differences between this mall and the last one is this one also has a hotel attached to it, and that is the Mercure Hotel. And I believe that's like a European franchised hotel, and one night there is approximately $104. And then across the street there's a lot of history. This is the church and monastery of Saint Adalbert, and it is a Catholic church. Very neat looking building, and it's also pretty easy to get here from the train station, as they do have these streetcars that just go up and down all of these streets. So there's lots to do here, a lot of history, and a lot more shopping as well. And I found one of the mall entrances, and this is the Galerie Dominikańska. Hope I pronounced that at least somewhat close to being correct. And this mall could be a little bit bigger than the last one, just because it appears to be 3 stories. And here's a Max Mara. It's like women's clothing. An apart, which appears to be jewelry. And across the aisle is a Pandora store. So a lot of mix of different kinds of stores in here. Another jewelry. And here's a Apple store. And then downstairs they have, it's like several Western restaurants, a McDonald's and a KFC. Have to go check those out. The interesting artwork seems to be dispersed throughout the city of Wroclaw. And this is just right on this corner of a rather busy street, and not sure what this is supposed to represent. There's a, looks like a lady with a baby carriage and other people, maybe workers, and some look to be just rising up out of the ground. I will have to look this up more when I get back home. Hello again, everyone. Back at the mall supermarket for a quick shopping trip, and just want to show everyone how cheap the food is here in Poland and also in Wroclaw. And the first aisle, this is the produce, and these grapes are about 75 cents a pound. Bananas are 5 zloty per kilo, so that's roughly 60 cents per pound for the bananas. And tomatoes are about 7 zloty per kilo, which would be also about 75 cents per pound for the tomatoes. And let's see what else here. Some potatoes, a 2 kilogram bag for 5 zloty. That's about $1.25 for the 5-pound pack of potatoes. And here's some already prepared foods and a pizza. It's $3 for the cheese pizza. Now we're in the dairy section. Yogurts, those are about 75 cents to $1 each. And this is the milk aisle, and 1 liter containers of milk are about $1 each. And milk here is only sold in 1 liter containers. It doesn't sell by the gallon. And then here's loaves of bread. Those are kind of small loaves for about $1 to $2 per loaf. And here's the pastry section, but it is later in the afternoon, and it looks like most of the pastries are picked over. But if they did have pastries, they're about 50 cents to $1 each. And here's some bread rolls. Those would be 0.37 zloty. That would be like 10 cents for those bread rolls. Those are pretty cheap. And here's poultry, chicken. Chicken, not so cheap. That chicken is 33 zloty for the whole chicken, which would be about $8 for the whole chicken. And here's chicken legs. Those are about $1 per pound for the chicken legs. And this looks like the imported fish, and that would be about 60 zloty a pound for the salmon, which would translate to about $15 per pound for salmon, which is rather expensive, really. And ground beef, approximately $4 a pound for the ground beef. That's a little bit expensive. Cheaper than the US, but still expensive for Poland. And here's probably some more locally caught fish, and that's per 100 grams. That's like $7 per 100 grams. Then the other one is 2 zloty per 100 grams, which would be about $2 a pound for basically that large sardine looking fish. And here's some looks like salamis. And we're already in the liquor section. Lots of varieties of liquor. Finland vodka, Jack Daniels. 25 bucks for that handle of Jack Daniels. And more hard liquor. Shots of vodka, those are like 2 bucks each. And here's ice cream. Those are about $5 for that half gallon. Ben & Jerry's is pretty expensive, about $7, $8 for that Ben & Jerry's.